Morning, morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome, bienvenue, willkommen, da da da, do do do.
All of that rubbish, yeah.
Just moisturise my lips. Talk amongst yourselves.
No, we're all watching you, Richard.
I have very beautiful lips.
I did watch a segment of that this week. It did make me laugh. Abigail's Party.
Abigail's Party, starring Alison Steadman as Beverly.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Who plays
Deary me. I've worked with her, haven't I?
Well, she was in Benidorm.
She was in Benidorm. She's worked all of her life.
Yes.
Yeah, really, really grand. I mean, it's a very sad piece, isn't it?
Well, it's a hard watch.
Is it Mike Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard watch.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable, but it's the characters.
Yeah. Stupendous.
I mean, it's still running as a play.
Yes. Yeah.
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 It's still being done, isn't it?
In fact, I saw a bit on YouTube about it being done at Highbury Theatre.
Yeah.
There was a video about it, and I used to live, when I first came to London, I used to live in just off Highbury Fields, and the Highbury Theatre was sort of like 10-15 minutes walk away. Yeah. Gosh, that takes me back.
Anywho, this is not Paul's
Reminiscing
journey. This is Sunday Chat.
Sunday Chat!
Yes, and no, there is no photographic evidence of that time. There's a couple of photographs.
Yeah, there's a couple of photographs, yeah.
Me with incredibly long dark hair.
Yes. Well, I didn't know you at that point, did I? No, when I first moved to London, we didn't know each other, obviously, at that point.
No, but of the time when we were together then.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a long time ago.
Anyway, I'm not going to complain this week because a couple of people said I was complaining too much. So...
Oh, I'm so pleased after God knows how many Sunday Chats.
I'm not going...
Everyone's getting an aspect of my life. Yeah. I sit here, I'm all smiley. And
yes, because it's all about you, Paul.
He's all like...
It's all about you, isn't it? Yeah, it's all about you. You, selfish as usual. No, I'm not going to complain. Shush now, God. I'm not going to complain at all from this moment onwards. I'm going to be relentlessly positive. And let's find out how fun that is, shall we?
Oh, dearie me.
So welcome and thank you so much for tuning in to yet another week of Sunday
Chat! Yeah.
That's right, Paul.
That's 3 times in the sort of like first couple of minutes.
Everybody just loves it.
Oh, dearie me. Oh.
So...
No, I think you should go back to your normal self, baby.
No, I'm going to go with what the viewers want.
I think
which
it was
is
just a few
positivity and no negativity at all.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to try my level best.
Oh, yeah, it's already slipping. There we are.
The cracks are showing.
Yeah. Oh.
Not facial
You might
cracks,
get wrinkles. You
oh
might
God,
get wrinkles.
That's the reason I don't do it. Because
Absolutely. Oh,
maybe
this is smiley wrinkles.
Maybe I can smile without wrinkling anything up. Hold on.
Oh, you just look like one of those Botox people being angry.
So first of all, we've got a thank you to say to the lovely Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Linda sent us a huge box of Isle of Wight tomatoes and peppers.
Amazing. And they taste amazing.
They do.
It's so lovely to be eating fresh, juicy, sweet,
plump
tomatoes.
Fresh produce, yes. And the message from Linda was, enjoy guys, hope this keeps you going until the homegrown ones fatten up. And actually, when I went down to the plot yesterday, I took the empty box with me. The tomatoes come in boxes inside a box to keep them lovely. So I took the empty box down with me. And I think that gave some of the tomatoes a bit of a kick, because I noticed that 2 of them have started just ripening a little bit, but I didn't notice that for a few hours. So they had a few hours before I noticed that. So I think the box going down and them seeing Isle of Wight tomatoes on the box.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what did it.
I mean,
and
yes,
of course one
absolutely.
of them has already been eaten by slugs.
How wonderful. Wonderful, Paul.
Oh.
Amazing.
Oh, this feels so bizarre.
let's do something else. Now it's time for Richard and Paul's weather report. Direct from sunny London. It's been beautiful all week, even on the days where we thought we might actually die of the heat. It was still beautiful, sunny, hot, sultry, humid, all gorgeous.
It's just going to go on for the whole thing.
Yes.
It just feels so alien. It really does.
You're talking about the weather.
So the weather, yeah. So the weather has been that. We did get 2 bouts in overnight of really quite heavy rain.
And it was beautiful rain.
And of course that rain brought all the slugs out.
They're beautiful, the slugs.
They are, and they're big. Somebody commented last week that
Juicy.
when we talk about slugs, they hadn't realised quite how large these slugs are. And I mean, we're talking about sort of like 3-4 inches plus, you know, size of slugs, and lots of them. When I went down yesterday morning, after a bout of rain overnight, there were 11 fat black slugs on a sunflower. They were munching away, yeah. I just wish they would eat. I mean, it is a gone over sunflower, so they were eating the right things. But clearly they shouldn't be eating ripening tomatoes. That's not on.
I think it's been a difficult year for slugs and snails. They've been fighting for their lives because they've been climbing the trees in the back garden and eating the tree leaves.
Oh, that's right, they have. Yes, was it the magnolia as well?
Yeah, they've been eating them. Oh, guess what I saw yesterday?
Oh dear.
2 cherries on the cherry tree.
Oh.
2 black cherries.
Oh, what ripe?
Perfectly ripe. I didn't eat them because I thought they might be poisonous.
No, they're not poisonous.
How do you know?
Well, because they're not, because we don't have any poisonous cherries in the back garden.
How do you know you didn't
But
buy them?
they're not going to be particularly sweet, I'm sure.
I don't know. I didn't want to eat them. I thought I'd leave them for the slugs and the snails.
Well, I'm
they're climbing the
surprised
trees.
the squirrels haven't got them yet.
Well, there's
Are they
only
at
2.
the end of a branch that if the squirrel goes on the branch it'll fall off?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why they have.
Although I don't think that would worry the squirrels because they seem to be acting like flying squirrels at the moment.
Well, they are, yeah.
Because they're leaping from tree to tree, destroying everything.
They're being very active.
Oh, we love it.
And what's the weather coming forward, going ahead? What am I talking about?
I think it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful British summer August.
Yeah, I think it most probably is. It's going to be pretty standard weather. Though there's lots of cloud. I mean, we're getting much more cloud. I said this the other day, didn't I? Every time we ask a certain device in our room what the weather is for the next 7 days, she always says so-and-so with cloud, so-and-so with full cloud, so-and-so partly cloudy. It's always cloudy, isn't it, baby?
Yes, yes. I'm using so much energy being happy and bright and positive that it's really exhausting.
It's going to fall asleep.
I think it's exhausting for you to watch.
I think
Would
it
you like
is.
me to revert back to evil, Richard?
Yes, please. No, just normal Richard's fine.
I don't know what normal Richard is.
Oh, it is evil Richard, yeah, it is, yeah.
So, Paul, how has your working week been? Positive and full of joy?
It's been full of desk work this week. It really has been, because we're confirming a lot of shows for the autumn and the spring season of the Great Green Barn. All of that information needs to come in. I then need to do the leaflets for it. I need to put that on the website. I need to do the ticketing for it, because we use a thing called Ticket Tailor for all of our ticket sales. And each event, even though you can sort of duplicate one event to another event, you obviously need to change all the copy and everything like that. So it's been quite full on with that, because we confirmed 5 shows and 1 event this week. And then on Thursday, I think it was, we're going to be adding a 5-week Indian cookery course to that, which is going to go on from sort of November to early December. Then we're doing sort of cakes and baking for 5 weeks in the spring. So there's a lot going on. So it's been sort of quite close desk work with graphics and things. But that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. How's your working week been, Richard?
It's been okay. Yeah, full of positivity.
I thought you were giving up on the positivity and going back to normal, Richard.
No, I've become addicted to it now.
Oh no, there's going to be a divorce even though we're not married. Yeah.
So,
I don't think I could have you being positive all the time. Just the once or twice a year that you are positive is enough for me, Richard.
okay. I'm...
He doesn't know what to say now. I am a positive person.
Generally, I am, but I like to be realistic.
Yes.
About things.
Being a realist is important.
No, it seriously is, because actually, being relentlessly positive does take a lot of energy, but also it sets you up for failure and disappointment much more often than if you consider things in a realistic fashion.
Yeah. I think this. We were watching Gardener's World last night. We'll come on to it later.
Coming on to that later.
I know, but at the back end, Monty did say something about, whatever you do in your garden, have fun. And I'm finding all of the many segments, whether I watch them on YouTube or I watch them on television or whatever, about gardening, I find them a bit up and a bit too, let's have fun, let's do this, it's all fabulous, it's all lovely and everything is going to work. I'm really finding that lack of reality quite tiresome at the moment, because yes, if you're going to be doing gardening and growing and allotmenteering, you need to get enjoyment from it. But you can get enjoyment from it even when things are not going right. I think using the word fun, which a lot of people do, and they try and be very up in things, I find it a bit relentless and a bit tiring. I really do. I'm much more of a realist. That's why I do a week at the plot. You get the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune in what I do with a week at the plot. And yeah, I just find it a bit tiresome when I see people going, yeah, do this, do that. And of course, with the new things of really quick cuts and things, yeah.
I think it also, for me, it's very unrealistic because it doesn't show anything like the time frames involved in doing a piece of work in the garden.
Totally.
I've been gardening recently and it's been taking up huge amounts of time to do stuff, because also the reality is, for me, and I think I mentioned this in my vlog, the bending and stretching that's involved in gardening, I find immensely tiring. because, you know, I feel as though I'm constantly in a mild state of pain and stiffness as a result. The stretching upwards I can do, no problem at all. Cutting trees, you know, branches, stuff like that, no problem. It's when I'm bending down, having to get down to pot stuff up, which I've recently done. You're bent over all the time, and even with one of those mats, those kneeling mats, it still hurts the back. So, you know, if you've got the money to have a big potting bench and a potting area that's all, you know, high up for you, where you don't need to bend, and you've got your compost there and everything's laid out nice and neatly, there's not having to play Tetris on the patio to constantly move things around because you haven't got enough room. You know, the reality of doing that in a small patio area is much different to the glamorous, large swathes of space that these television gardeners have. You know,
or many of them have.
Yeah, well, a lot of them do. You know,
Yeah.
and it's totally unrealistic. It's a pain in the backside, or a pain in the back, to be more accurate.
It is a pain, and the legs.
Oh, God.
I really, you know, yesterday we did 4 beds. I hand weeded 2 long beds. One bed I had to get down on my hands and knees to do it, and the other one it hadn't been worked for like 3-4 months, and I really needed to get in and weed it really quite thoroughly, and then go in with a hand fork. And by like 7 o'clock we'd had our supper, and then I got up again and I was creaking, you know, I was like, oh.
But there's plenty of things that I don't find difficult at all, like raking, hoeing, brushing up, you know. I don't find, and pruning stuff, I don't find any of that a problem at all. It's just bending, weeding, you know.
But of
things
course
like
that bending and stretching is a part of what is really good for you when you are doing,
oh yeah,
you know, gardening.
And the pain is short-lived, generally.
Yeah.
Generally, the next day I feel okay. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel okay today.
Although I have to say, last weekend, the day, 2 days after, I was like, oh blimey, I'm feeling that in the back of my legs.
But that was a mega. You had 2 mega
lovely.
days, didn't you? You had Friday and Saturday of really getting
anyway.
on top of things. So yeah,
Because we did go to the garden centre, but more about that in my daily vlogs, which you can watch here. Watch them now, not now. Later.
Oh, and I saw a woodpecker this morning. I was sitting here having my tea, and there was a woodpecker in the tree, and that was just lovely. It really, yeah. Seeing a woodpecker in that tree about 3 times.
Which tree?
In the birch, the silver birch.
As long as it's not on my palm tree.
No, it
making
came
holes.
onto the palm tree, but then it looked in and saw me and it flew away because
I'm not surprised.
it knew I wanted to take photographs of it. But it was so sweet.
So that's lovely, Paul. Thank you very much.
Oh, dear.
You wanted to mention the Hanwell Writing Club.
Yeah.
So, Paul, you've not talked about writing for a while.
No, because I have not been in that headspace. I did do some a couple of weeks ago, and I think actually, you know, getting in that headspace is just writing every day. That's what needs to happen. But the Hanwell Writing Club, which is at our local library, I joined it, you may remember, at the beginning of end of last year. And then I went for a couple of sessions, and then the person who was running it let us know that she was moving out of the area, and it basically fizzled out. And then with the newsletters that the library send out, it was mentioned in each of the newsletters. So I contacted the person that had been organising it, and I said, you know, is there anything that we can do with this, or should we just say it's not happening? And I met up with one other person who was at the group last week, and we had a really sort of honest discussion about what we felt we wanted from a writing group, how a writing group might benefit the people attending, the type of events and speakers that it might be good to have, because we felt it wasn't just sensible to meet up, write, and then say goodbye to each other, and then meet up 2 weeks later, write, and say goodbye to each other, because the interaction wasn't there. And as a writer, you want sort of some help and support along the way. And in discussing this, we then talked about whether I might take it on as a lead, or whether the other person, she might take it on. And we both sort of went, look, we tried to meet up over the last 6 weeks, and this is the first time we haven't had to rearrange it. We're both too busy to lead on this. So we're now talking to a few other people to see, that we know of, to see if they might like to lead on it, and the two of us are happy to input and arrange a few talks and things. But I think it's important that, as I'm trying to find time to write, and I'm giving up roles that I'm coming off the committee at the allotment in next month, in fact at the end of next month, so I'm giving up certain roles there that I'm doing and to pass them on to other people, that I don't take on further responsibility with leading this writing group. So I'll keep you in touch with what develops. Hopefully something will develop which will be beneficial for the local community in terms of writing. Fingers crossed. Maybe you'd like to lead on it, Richard, and be really positive about it all.
Yes, that would be great.
There we are.
But I'm not a writer.
Oh, you are. You are. You write lovely.
Let's move on, shall we? It's time.
Ooh.
So, Sunday's date is the 18th of August, because we're filming on Saturday. Lovely. Everything's
I
lovely.
can't believe it's...
Oh, God.
Well, actually, August feels as though it's being a normal length. It's not racing through.
I can't even say that.
Oh, no. Spell it.
Oh, what a challenge.
What a positive, enjoyable challenge.
What a challenge. I'll rise to it. Rhadamanthine. Rhadamanthine. Rhadamanthine.
I have no idea whatsoever.
Okay, well you're about to find out.
I feel it's sort of something to do with spirituality or iconography.
Okay. In Greek mythology, Rhadamanthus was a son of Zeus and Europa. While alive, he was a king of Crete, known for the unwavering justice of his rule. Some sources suggested that he passed a law allowing for self-defense, and afterwards he was made a judge in the underworld. And so, what is Rhadamanthine is strict and unswerving in its judgment.
Is that it?
Watching a murder trial in Paris in 1839, Thackeray thought there was far too little evidence for conviction. He wrote to a friend that the romantic prosecutor chose to compose and recite a little drama and draw tears from juries, but hoped that severe Rhadamanthine judges are not to be melted by such trumpery. The accused, Sebastian Paytel, was nonetheless found guilty of killing his wife and later guillotined. Even the public intervention of the novelist Honoré de Balzac, who died on this day in 1850, could not save Paytel from a fate so Rhadamanthine. Strict and unswerving in its judgment.
Yeah. I think that is clear.
How wonderful. Lovely. So, on to the final segment of the show, which is, what have we watched on television this week? What have we thoroughly enjoyed? Through and through.
Esher.
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 Isn't it Esher?
Esher.
A programme on the artist. Escher. Eska. Isha. Iska. I don't know how it's pronounced, actually.
I think it is Escher. Yeah. We watched the programme. It was an hour and a half. I think it was
very
Escher.
interesting.
Absolutely.
So this is the artist who used to draw, well, was famous for drawing in a very graphic style using primarily woodcuts and printing techniques. And he did a lot of tessellation, that is the fitting together of shapes in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Very often going into infinity, repeating, folding back on itself. He also played with perspectives and impossible shapes and figures in terms of figures walking up staircases that are impossible.
They just
walking back on themselves.
Yeah, they just always go, you're always walking up or always walking down.
Creatures, impossible creatures and figures in terms of creatures coming off the page and going back onto the page. And yeah, I love Escher stuff. I've got a couple of Escher books. So it's fascinating to learn about his life.
Yeah.
And his children were also interviewed as, elderly adults now.
And it took it from his early life, and he does say right at the beginning about he was fortunate to be in a wealthy family, so he was able to follow what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and that was on Sky Arts, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, really good.
And I have no idea quite how many drawings he did and how productive he was.
And how unaware of his popularity he was in the later years, because of course his drawings reached a point where they were embraced by the psychedelic community, because they are fascinating to look at, and they really have a lot of detail which you can kind of get sucked into. And of course the shapes and fine detail of the shapes and lines that he drew are very pleasing to the eye.
It was a fascinating programme. I think that was Sky Arts that we watched.
I just
that
said
one.
that.
Did you? Oh, I didn't listen to it. Yeah.
We continue with Sunny as well, which to be honest I can't remember this week's episode.
This week was all about the robot, the android, the robot, and what a change of character of the robot.
Oh yes, because it got
Kidnapped,
didn't it? And has been returned with a different personality.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. We watched The Sky at Night, which was also very good because it was about the head of. What's she the head of?
Science.
Is it the head of science at NASA?
At NASA.
Who is from Hitchin in Hertfordshire.
Yeah. In the UK.
And it was about her story. And she went to university with Dr. Maggie, who is a regular presenter on The Sky at Night. And it was kind of about them meeting up again and talking about their university days. And it was really good because it was quite in depth and it didn't flit around too much.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I said to Richard, that's the best episode of Sky at Night for ages. Absolutely
it was
ages.
Good.
Yeah.
It felt grown up rather than trying to appeal to the younger audience by being trendy and cool.
Yeah, and the funny bits in it sort of came from these two people who've known each other for for decades and been very successful in their careers, finding humour in the most sort of basic of experiences. I really enjoyed it.
And as Paul said earlier, we watched Gardener's World, which was actually quite a good episode because it was kind of led by Monty, because personally, out of all the presenters, he's the presenting style that I enjoy the most.
Yes, I think most people enjoy the most, yeah.
Yeah, so, and it also had some really good segments on other people's gardens. Far better than the one last week that I saw a snippet of, which I thought was frankly just not up to scratch, really. This week's was fascinating.
Yeah.
There was this eccentric guy who built this incredibly interesting garden, full of interesting structures made from pieces of discarded wood. And one of the structures looked like it was built within the roots of a tree.
Yeah, it was extraordinary.
And he called it the Crinkle Crankle House, didn't he? Or the Crinkle Crankle Room, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which was just amazing. He was a sweetie. And
we saw his wife bringing a tray of tea for like 2 seconds, and I just fell in love with her immediately. We didn't see any more of her. I assume it was his wife, might have been his girlfriend, or might have been a friend, I don't know, but I fell in love with her immediately.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Really interesting and really just so natural and, not forced in any way. It was lovely. Really
and then there was also a look at the Vegetaria gardens. Vegetaria is a big sort of healthcare brand. It makes a lot of products, and he was looking at what they grow and how they use. And we felt it could be a bit more specific in terms of what they use in the plants.
Well, they were talking about the natural remedies. And what really annoys me when people talk about natural remedies is that they say things like, this is anti-inflammatory, it's antifungal, it's antimicrobial, and they never seem to say the ingredients contained within the plant are X, Y, and Z. And these are the scientific names for the active ingredients that do X, Y, and Z. They never seem to back it up with pure science. I mean, it's all well and good as knowing that a plant is good for us, but I want to know the science behind it, even if they just give a little bit of it, because otherwise it kind of comes across as a bit woo-woo.
Yeah, it can do, and it sort of did do. I mean, it was good seeing it all, but it did do. But you said something very interesting during that segment. Richard said that these plants are known, over millennia to be good for certain things, as you've just mentioned. But actually our lives now are so different to how they were, let's say, 1,000 years ago, where maybe there's a lot less disease, but a lot more stress and a lot more speed and a lot more travel. Are those benefits from those plants, do they still work within modern life? And I think that's a really interesting question to pose.
We must be different. Our DNA must be a little bit different now and altered by modern life. And I do wonder whether the strength of those plant-based remedies, I wonder whether they're effective enough for the modern human, I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
No, but it's an interesting question to pose, as I say. It would be, there will be those people who say, feverfew, I know it relieves headaches. There will be those that it relieves it much more than others, or is it actually because of their belief that it will, relieve it?
Placebo effect.
Yeah, but I think that question of how people used to live their lives and how we live our lives now, is the effectiveness still as valid?
Yeah, I don't know, because we're bombarded with stuff in the modern world that has an effect on us. Can it counteract those effects as effectively as it would have done thousands of years ago? I don't know. I don't know, Paul. So, we continue with Schitt's Creek.
Love it. We're sort of halfway through season 5, so we've only got maybe 8 episodes left, I think, 10 episodes, something like that.
We started watching Mastermind, which I think is a new series. So we're getting into that time of year when the quiz shows start again.
As the night darken.
Yeah. We also watched Only Connect.
Yes.
As well, which I find frustratingly difficult, I have to say.
Well, you got quite a few things.
I answered quite a few on Mastermind.
You did.
I did.
Yeah. I don't. Victoria Coren Mitchell did start Only Connect, saying that she's not going to be doing with a monologue, saying she's not going to be doing the monologues at the beginning in future. And we both went, oh, thank God for that. I wonder if we will see whether that is actually true in the second, or whether she comes with a monologue saying that they've decided that actually they're going to continue with it.
But it's all good. So that's it for this week's Sunday Chat.
Sunday Chat!
Because we're in doing mode at the moment. There's sort of quite a few little projects going on. I've got some garden chairs that I need to build. I bought 2 garden chairs.
Fold?
No.
Oh, right.
They've got to be built.
Oh, right.
And if you want to see me building chairs, go over to my daily vlogs.
Oh, God.
I'm going to film myself building them.
Oh, fantastic.
What do you mean fantastic?
Fantastic.
I'm pretty good at things like that.
You are very good at things like that.
I think you'll find.
I think the thing is, when you do everything, do make sure that when you unbox it, you count and make sure you've got all the numbers of the right parts, quantities,
I'm
and
sure
things
it's
like
only
that.
a few screws here and there and a few nuts and bolts.
I'm sure it is.
Although I did read a review that one person said the first chair took me an hour to build because it was a bit fiddly. It's only a bloody chair.
I think the important thing to do is to follow the instructions and hope that the instructions have been written and drawn by somebody who knows how to put the thing together.
Anywho, that's it for this week. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And we do hope you have a fantastic week. Everywhere, everybody. Very nice, special, lovely.
Oh dear, yeah, I don't think I can continue with this. Can you go on?
I can go on, no matter what. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Shall I tell you something to cheer you up?
No, I'm too cheerful as it happens already.
We're going to have cheese and tomato on toast for lunch.
Can I descend back into hell now? Bye, everybody.
Yeah, quite easily.
I wish I could put some flames now and I could go down into the depths of hell.
Well, you most probably could if you sort of, looked at the controls and looked at a few YouTube videos and things. You'd most probably be able to do that.
Bye.
Instead of being a heavenly angel.
Bye. Take care. Toodle pip au revoir.
See you next week.